St. Patrick's Day is on a Wednesday this year. It's actually a week from this coming Wednesday. So with that in mind, we're gonna try something new. Corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef on the smoker, cooking the cabbage out here outside so that it doesn't cabbage up the house. Y'all stick around. Let's see how this all turns out. For my corned beef, yesterday at Costco I got this. It's an O'Brien's, pre-brined. They brine it for however long they brine it for. It doesn't say, and I'll put the ingredients of what their brine was, and it's pre-packaged. I did the seasoning on the top, mostly peppercorn, black pepper, red pepper, a little garlic, and some salt, but not much. Less salt than I would normally put on anything because I believe that the brine they put it in had some salt in it, so I didn't want to add more to it. As a matter of fact, what I did do was I then soaked it overnight in beer in Guinness. Ho hee hee. Put some cinnamon, some brown sugar, and I let it just soak overnight in that. Then I rinsed it all off real. Then I used that I mentioned earlier, the peppercorn, the black and red pepper, the garlic, and a little bit of salt. And that's all that's on here. So corned beef is gonna be put on the smoker. It's a brisket, it's a brisket cook. It's just a flat, not a whole brisket. I trimmed off some of the bottom fat cap. We'll see how it works out. Anyway, I just got my fire going here a little bit. Hang on. Oh, still one of my favorite parts. I need to add another stick running across this way, get a real good bed of coals on here. I'm going to cover this back up. I'm going to take it back inside. I just wanted to show it to you. And I'll be back when we're ready to put it on the smoker. We got our temp stabilized right now at about 325. Cooking with a mixture of pecan and hickory, which if you pay attention, that's generally my go-to, is pecan and or hickory. Love pecan. You know what? I have not had one stick of mesquite in here, and I live in Texas. I think that might be an arrestable offense, living in Texas and never cooking with mesquite. And I've had this since Thanksgiving. So I guess at some point I got to get some mesquite run through there. But my personal preference is pecan. It just is. So I'll open this. I got my corned beef right over here. I'm gonna put it on. Got my water pan right under here, and we're gonna get this thing started. In case I didn't show you before, here's what we're working with right here. Just a good brisket flat, and it's going right in the center. Magic begins. It's been just a little less than 2.5 hours. Just a little less. That gauge right there says about 326, 327. My probe that's inside says 317. That's the biggest variance I've ever had between the two, but we're still keeping an eye. So here's my flat. This is my corned beef. I love when that smoke rolls out, y'all. Absolutely my favorite part. So that right there is the brisket flat, corned beef. And here in a few minutes, I'm gonna get started on that cabbage. And I'm gonna take y'all step by step through it. Not quite 3 hours since I put it on, and just by looking at it, it's looking really good. Again, it's just a flat, it's not a full brisket, so might be some differences in there. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and check the internal temperature, see what it's like. I did flip it at about 2.5 hours. I rotated it. I'm sorry, I didn't flip it, I rotated it 180 degrees. So let's check the internal temperature on here. I'm curious to see. I'm just curious to see. All right, on this end right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, I have no idea, but it's 192 on this end, which is the thicker part of the brisket. Back here, this one is 196. So there is no reason to wrap this right square in the middle. It is 192 also. So as you get up here towards the thicker end, you're looking at about 192 degrees. This powered right through the stall. It never even hit a stall. It just kept rolling. The need to wrap it, put it back on, is absolutely not necessary. What I will do though, just because, is I will take it off and put it in some foil or put it in a pan, and I will pour some beef broth in there and about to where it's not quite halfway up on the brisket, and I'll let it steam in that for I have no idea, about 45 minutes. So I'm fixing to do that right now, and let it come on up to temp that way. 196. It's 196. No, sir. We're going to let it get up to about 202, 203. Then we're going to do the pan and the broth trick and let it braise in there, just to steam it all in and get it just that much more moist. If you notice here, for those of y'all that have been following along, this is more important than anything else, than temperature, than time, than anything, is how does that probe feel when you put it in there? Is there any resistance? And there is still a slight resistance. It's not much. It is not much at all. I'd say another 20 minutes or so, and we probe it again. And I don't think we'll have any resistance at all. I think we'll have exactly what we want to find. And again, that is more important than time. That is more important than temperature. That feel, that's the thing. How does it feel when you probe it in the thickest part back over to the thinnest part? Again, none of this is going to be chopped. This is all going to be sliced corned beef for our corned beef and cabbage. Pretty happy with the way this is rolling. Okay, so it's been just a minute or two since that last video, and we're going to take this off of here, put it right in there with, like I said, just a little bit of beef broth, and we're going to set it right there. And then I am going to cover it up, but here's the thing: anytime you use that, it is just murder on people's ears. So I'm going to shut this off, and then I'm going to cover it up. Okay, we got it in there, beef broth, covered up, back on here. And Johnny, if you would set the timer for 25 minutes. Here we go. Now that we have all our bacon fried up, we're going to put about a half to 2/3 of a head of cabbage chopped up. Fire down just a little bit. Let's put just a little bit more. Fill in some of these holes is what I'm thinking I need to do. As I said before, first time doing this, so we'll see. Now we're going to let that cook for about a minute or so, and then start adding in the next. All right, the cabbage has been cooking in that bacon grease for about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So I'm gonna just build me a little spot over here, move that out, and then, like I said before, I cut up way too many onions. But we're gonna put about a little less than half of what I cut up here. So that's about a half of an onion. And we're gonna let it cook inside that bacon grease. And then we're just gonna fold this cabbage right over the top of it so that the cabbage keeps cooking and all those onions get all that good bacon grease. And we're gonna let them cook for about 2 minutes. So 2 minutes since we put in the onions, we're gonna do the same exact thing. Just build a little dam right over here. And in this spot, we're gonna take these gringoized jalapeños that have had all the seeds removed and have been chopped up, and we're gonna put them right inside that bacon grease. See what I'm saying? There we go. Let those cook right inside all that bacon grease. And then again, just fold that cabbage and those onions right over the top of it. And let them cook. We'll let those go for about a minute. Then we'll add a couple more things. All right, so everything right there has cooked for another minute and a half or so. And that cabbage is looking pretty good. So now I got red pepper, black pepper, a little bit of salt. I'm gonna put that in there. We're gonna mix it all up. And then, last but not least, I've got minced garlic and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Okay. We're gonna let that all melodize in there. Then we got that. Now we take our bacon and fold it all right back in there. Right back in there. Okay. Cover that up, bring it over here, put it right there, turn that off, and let it just simmer for, I don't know, as long as I want it to, as long as you want it to. That's the important part. You want that cabbage to be still kind of crispy. You want those jalapeños to be still kind of crispy. Don't cook it too long. If it doesn't matter and you want everything a little more well done, well, hey, make it well done. That's the cool thing about this. You do you. All right, the last part of this corned beef is going to be a glaze that I'm going to make. And you know what? Let's save this one for later on. Okay. We're going to use Apricot Preserves. We're going to use jalapeno pepper jelly. We're going to use horseradish. And we're going to use soy sauce. And it's going to be amazing. So what I got here is that glaze out of the Apricot Preserves and the jalapeno jelly and the horseradish and the soy sauce. And we're gonna just smear it all over the top of here. After I finished putting the glaze on there, on this corned beef, I went ahead and pulled it out of the pan so that there wouldn't be too much confusion between the liquid in the pan and the glaze on the top. And it just seemed to me like that wasn't the best plan that I could have been moving forward with. So I just called an audible, and I think it's the right thing to do. We're gonna know once we get done with this, but I just feel like having the glaze on the top and the liquid in the bottom, it was just two forces working against each other. Know what I mean? Okay, here is the proverbial moment of truth, just like it always is on these cooks, because I never know exactly how it's going to turn out. But there's my corned beef right there, and I am not hating that. It's got that apricot jalapeno glaze on top, peppercorn with black pepper and red pepper on the outside, and that's pretty good. I'm not gonna kid y'all. That is pretty good corned beef right there. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do bowls, because neither one of us are big sandwich people right now. So we're gonna cut up about half of this and put it in a bowl with that cabbage. And I'll show you what those look like here in just a minute. Hey, I want to thank every single one of y'all that have ever spent one extra minute watching one of my videos after you got bored. I really, really want to thank y'all just for being a part of all this. I'm having a blast. My wife is enjoying the fact that I'm not all in her hair every weekend, all weekend long, saying, what are you doing? What's going on with you? What's happening with you? Where are you headed? Where are you going? Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? So now I'm back here in the backyard doing a little bit of this, which, hey, y'all may not know this, but yeah, that other thing ain't so far from the truth. It might be a little exaggerated, just a little. This deal today, corned beef and cabbage, man, I would have never even thought to do anything like this before. But now, see, y'all got me looking for new stuff. Y'all got me trying to get a little bit creative. Is corned beef and cabbage creative? No, it's probably not for you, but it is for this guy. This guy would have not done it before, but it's because of y'all. So I'm looking for new stuff all the time, and I kind of had this one in my hip pocket waiting on St. Patrick's Day. But St. Patrick's Day is coming up, so if I got this one out there in time for maybe you'd be able to do this for y'all's family, here's something you can do with the family on St. Patrick's Day. Appreciate everything that y'all do. Appreciate the time that you spend. Really, really happy that we're kind of taking this journey together. Remember, y'all be good to each other and keep on smoking. So I just want to thank every single one of y'all that I really do want to thank you. Hold on just a second. But I appreciate the time. Hey, I appreciate the time. I'm just leaving that in.